All right, are there any questions? Any things you'd like to go over with? Today is a review day for your test a week from today. Are there any problems, any things that you need me to do? See, have you looked at old exams that I have up there?
The exams,
Have you looked at any old ones?
the old ones?
Yeah, have you looked at them?
I didn't see anything.
Okay, I didn't know if they were there or not. Let me go to Blackboard then. I was just there. Where we at? Okay. Contemporary math. Oh, I guess they're in there. Okay, so. All right, I guess not. Usually have a place for old tests and things like that in here. I can send you one if you want. Last time, at least it's been a few years since I taught this class. And it has changed since I did it last. Let me find my. All right, you'll be allowed to use your notes, so all the formulas will not be a big deal. Let's make sure some of the things you can do. I was looking at the test. The one that I'm probably going to give or similar to it last night. And we have, what are some of the things you're going to need to do? Compute. The payments on a loan. So you should be able to handle that formula without any problems. If at any point you need me to stop and explain or remind you of something, let me know. One thing I want to remind you about your payments is when you see this portion of it, whatever you do not round that part. You round that, you're going to take that to some astronomically high exponent. It's going to destroy your answer. Calculator is perfectly capable of handling that expression without you doing anything. This must be like an odd math class. I'm encouraging calculator use where it's probably been discouraged for years. These computations are not to be done by hand. All right, so we got them. We got the loan. What else do we do after you do the loan? Do you do an amortization schedule? You won't have to do a lot of it, maybe a few months, probably 2 months. That's what I used to ask the first 2 months of the amortization schedule. Can you do that? The house payment, figuring out a house payment. You know what I mean by a house payment versus a loan payment?
Including PMI.
Right, the house payment is actually what you're going to send their checks that you're gonna, when you pay your house payment, usually PMI and taxes and all that are all embedded in the payment. That's the house payment. The loan payment is just how much you owe on the amount that you borrowed for the home. Yes, so the house payment has, what are the things? You had insurance, homeowners insurance, the bank will require you to have that. PMI will be required for a while until you pay down 20% of the home. Or what else was there?
Taxes.
Taxes, usually city, all the taxes are kind of lumped together in there. Mine, when I go to do my taxes each year, system is just simply property taxes. There are real estate taxes, I'll be honest, I don't know the difference between the two. So, all I know is I get charged for one and not the other. All right, so make sure you're able to do all of that. Are there any questions on these things? You'll have to go through these processes. Maybe one or two loans, maybe one for a house and then one for, because if you do the house payment, all of this will be kind of together. Saying several steps. I'll be able to tell if you make a mistake on step one, that doesn't mean it's ruined. I'll be able to see that as long as you took the right steps for the next one, it won't destroy you. But of course, you have to show work for that. All right, so we've got the house payment. Any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. What did we do after the house payments? We had a bunch of stuff. House payments, loans. Sections in my mind. I should probably pull up the book.
So we did present value of annuity and future value.
Not really.
The average daily balance.
That's yeah. We go into, where are you at, Grace? I should probably see if I can, I usually don't fix anything during the semester and I wait till the end of the semester. So I can take this. I don't know if this gets erased each night or not. How annoying is that thing? Yeah, I don't want to miss anything. All right, simple interest, that's a figment of the imagination, so that doesn't exist. Compound interest, the compound interest formula is built in to these loan formulas. So I will probably not just give you a straight up compound interest problem. We're going to talk about loans, more about home loans. That was the PMI stuff. Remember all those, the very simple calculations. All you do is add it on to the loan payment. What about retirement savings? Any issues there? We're going to have, you'll have a question about setting up or saving for a retirement account. Yeah.
On that for not interest inflation.
Yeah, sure. That has got to be, inflation has got to be one of the most depressing things you'll see when you're preparing for your retirement. If you have gone through this process, it can be, depending on who you go to, they can send you fat or thin books, depending on how much you decide to pay them as they go through this. But absolutely none of the things that they do are anything you cannot do on your own. So, That is a good one. Let me. Get rid of this thing. So to keep this in mind, piece this together when all is said and done. That's why I've got numbers on. This is an interesting topic. You know, in every so often you get stuck in a way of thinking, and inflation has been low for years and years in this country, somewhere between 2% and 3%, except for this year. All of a sudden now it's a big deal. What it does to your money though is very depressing. Okay, let's take a look at, suppose. All right, suppose inflation is 3% per year. So, $1 today is worth only 97 cents in a year. So what you're gonna do then is use that. What is it gonna be worth in 2 years? So $1 today is worth, how much do you think it's worth? I took that and multiplied it by 0.97. What do you think I'm gonna do? It'll be the same thing. I'm gonna drop the dollar sign for this. You'll have, it's worth not 0.97 cents after a year, but then a year later, it's only worth 97% of that amount. So you have to square it 2 years. Let's see if you can guess this one. How much do you think that dollar today is going to be worth in 3 years?
Probably squaring it and dividing
I don't
it.
know. If think about this, at the end of each year, if you want to think about it that way, I'm multiplying it by 0.97. So I multiplied a dollar by 0.97, I got that. I multiplied this quantity by 0.97, I've got that. What do you think this blank spot's going to be?
97.
To the third power. See that? Can I go to the formula now? $1 today worth $0.97 to the K power in K years. Right? That's what we do for that. I think all my examples are like 3%. It's been 3% for so long, nobody even thought it would change again. So, what do I do here? All right, so let me do an example real quick. All right, so Josh estimates that he's gonna have 2.8 million bucks when he retires in 30 years. Now, let's say he assumes that you can't do anything when you're retiring, you have to just make assumptions on what the future is going to be like and things like that. And that's why they recommend that every few years, or maybe every 5 or 10 years, you go reseed some sort of a financial plan or do financial planning, because the world changes. So he estimates that it'll be worth $2.8 million when he retires in 30 years. If he assumes a 3% rate of inflation, how much? How much will his retirement let's see, how much will his retirement be worth in today's dollars? That's a phrase you'll often hear in the financial industry today. What that means is, they're gonna talk about if today you consider yourself to have a certain ability to purchase, in the future, you'll have even less ability to purchase. Or another way to look at it is, look at what's called the buying power of your dollar. How much you can buy today is a lot more than what it will be able to buy in the future. It's another way of looking at it. And they use this phrase, today's dollars, because they want you to, well, when you're doing retirement planning, I guess the biggest fear is that you think you're a millionaire, but then when you get to retirement, you can't afford it. That's why they do these kind of things, but it's so depressing when you see the number of what you do. Here's how much it's gonna be worth. So you're simply gonna take the $2,800,000 and multiply it by 0.97. Did he assume 3%? Yes, he did. Okay. Do you see how 3% is in this? To what power? 30. That's when you're gonna retire. Try it on your calculator. Sound like this massive. I think there's 2.8 million. I can't wait to retire. The only problem is you don't know what your physical feeling is going to be like when you get to that. I mean, what this amount comes to, this is not an unreasonable calculation by any stretch. I get 1,122,819. sense. I mean, when you're doing retirement plan, nobody's, exactitudes matter.
Okay, that's half a cheeseburger in 30 years.
That, look at that, more than half of it's gone. That is depressing. Now, you're probably like, oh, I'm still a millionaire, you know, I don't know. That's not so bad, but man, that's gotta hurt. So did I answer your question? Was that, is it adequate? Other question. It's the nastiest portion of retirement planning is that thing. Well, plus our medical expenses, because you have to, you have to plan on spending a lot more on medical when you get older than when you're younger. We good then? All right. So let's see where I was at in here. Sometimes you'll see that this thing freezes up on me. It's evidently when, hold on a second here. There it is up there. When this thing is running at the same time, it uses a lot of resources when you got the camera on. So that's why I have to pause now. I think I figured out this whole scenario. What I have figured out is they need to replace this computer and every single computer they use on this campus, but I'll keep quiet about that. Let me come back. Where were we at? Saving for retirement. So you've got that. I used to, I don't know if I'm going to or not. What about planning? What was the thing? An annuity. How do the annuities work? They may seem, I mean, if you're not in retirement right now, you may not, this may not seem like that big of a thing, but I'll tell you what, this is going to be the biggest decision you make when you retire. What you're gonna do with your millions or whatever it is, how much you have at the time. There'll be plenty of people that want to have your money too. And they'll give you various interest rates and you'll have to kind of decide between them. But yes, how about your working years? You have to, when you do retirement planning, one of the things that you usually do is you try to figure out how many years you're gonna live after you retire. And that's actually in the calculations. That's the only way you can do it according to a formula. Otherwise you go, well, I'm gonna set up annuity payments for the rest of my life. That's a different story. Insurance companies have their own situations for that. We can only do in this class a fixed amount of time. So we pick 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is that you think you're gonna live through retirement. How does the pay work? You guys understand the method or the way that the annuity works? Do you understand it?
I'm just thinking of how that would work, like, anywhere I get confused, is the formula for whether or not to use like the future value of the annuity or like the.
I'm not gonna bother with that. That was, here's, that is part, I don't say, oh, I'm gonna use those exact formulas, but I doubt I'm gonna make it look like that. How do I wanna say it? Can you figure out your payments of an annuity? Like if I say, I've got $10 million, you've got 20 years to live, I'm gonna give you X%, can you figure out the payments for that? You can, because the payments for it are identical to house payments.
Okay.
Literally, the bank is paying you for a loan. Of course, they're the only ones that get to charge a fee for that. I don't get to charge a fee for them. They're loaning me money. Anyways. Do you want me to do an example or?
I just want to make sure that I use the right form. Big thing that was kind of getting me confused and all of us trying to make sure that I was picking out the right formula that was different types.
Yeah. I would say, here's, can you do a retirement planning thing? Like, can you figure out how much money he's gonna have in the future? And then if he retires, can you tell me how much he's gonna be paid? Those are the kind of questions. If you want me to do an example, I can do them. But if not, it's completely up to you. This is your time.
I'll take an example just to make sure that.
All right. So let's take a look at somebody who, let's give them a 30-year. I don't know why I always choose 30 years, probably because that's what I'm going to work here before I retire. And that's what my dad did. 30 years. So, all right, let's do that. Give me a new name. I run out of names to use.
Fred.
Fred, thank you. There's a pianist who, when he sits down to play at the piano at concerts, he doesn't know anything he's going to play till he sits down and then he makes it up on the spot. It's brilliant.
What's his name?
Keith Jarrett.
Have you ever heard of him? I was gonna say Victor Borgen.
He, boy, that's different. He was more serious, but he wasn't bad. I understand he was very skilled. But no, I lost track. He threw me off. I lost track of where I was going to go with that. So, well, I'll come back to it when I have a reason for mentioning it. Oh yeah, now I remember. So he was sitting there one day at the thing and not doing a thing, just sitting there for I don't know how long. And somebody screamed from the audience, C sharp. And he goes, oh, thank you. And then he started. So he just needed a thing to start him. All right, so let's talk about Fred. All right, let's say Fred makes $60,000 per year. And his employer will match his retirement savings up to 10% of his pay. Fred is going to max out his retirement. I want to make sure you understand that. Right. Do you realize when you're, depending on the company you work for, they can offer you different things in terms of retirement? Some may not have any at all, for all I know, but most people, when they go to get a job, they consider a real job to be one with benefits and retirement, all that kind of stuff. So, when you are planning these retirements, where I worked before this, I worked for FedEx, and it was a gargantuan company, and they would allow me to invest in things that if I had not had FedEx to allow me to invest in them, I wouldn't have the money to do it. So as an example, I think I mentioned in one of the videos, they had a fund there that requires, in order to invest in the fund, requires a $10 million initial investment. There's no way that ordinary average citizens are going to have $10 million to put down for this. And that was great. It was 8% per year forever. It was the greatest fund. $10 million. I can't afford it, but in FedEx has $10 million. I can invest in it. So something that I could not do, not working for them, I could do working for them. So they offer that kind of stuff. Is very valuable. So Fred is going to max out his retirement. What does that mean? Let's start with that. He's going to make sure that his employer will give him the maximum contribution. That means he will put in as much as he can to make sure that happens. You guys with me? So how much of his pay is he going to put away? He'll put away 10%, and his employer will match that 90%. As my dad used to say, you'd be foolish to throw away free money. They're giving it to you.
See somebody match 10% for real?
Do it here.
Do they? Wow, I don't want to see.
They do 12% actually.
That's great.
Yes, it is. So, yeah, I should have, this is not realistic, because then I go, wait, I do this.
I was about to say, it's Fred's company hiring.
Well, maybe that's Fred Smith, so it's a FedEx guy. It's usually a percentage up to a certain percentage, and that makes it a little more complicated. But here he's going to get 10% from the company, and he's gonna put in 10%. Now, I need a couple other things. The interest rate that you're going to assume when you're doing this retirement, like if I put all of my shares into that bond fund, I could assume 8%, for example, because that bond fund had been 8% before I was born. Through today, when I saw something like that, I go, wow. And I saw it's only for rich people. So, let's say, I don't know, 8%, that bond fund doesn't get 8% guaranteed every year, you know, it dips sometimes, but it's a good fund, so it doesn't go down much, it doesn't go up much, but it stays very good. So, suppose Fred assumes, let's say, he's gonna assume a 6% return. So he's going to assume a 6% return on his retirement. How much is the fund worth when he retires? Come on. All right, so what was the appropriate formula here? What is the, do you know what it's, we used to call it the periodic savings formula. Is that word not in the book anymore? That's a phrase that I would like it to be called, but you say it has future value or something? All right, let's see here. Yeah, this guy right here. In the videos, I just call this A and I call this P, or if you want to, you can call it future value. These are actuary terms. I'm not sure why they got introduced in this section, but never before. But nonetheless, you've got the future value, that's how much it's going to be worth. And there's your payment. He wanted to differentiate it from loan payments, I'm guessing. So we have, this is our formula. Let me grab it and put it on this up there with us. When it comes to loans and things like that, what is N always equal to? When it comes to loans, what is N always equal to? Well, that's right. There's our guy. Now let's go ahead and throw in the numbers. How much is his payment going to be?
We don't know how many years he's still gonna work for.
Didn't I say it was 30 years?
30? Okay.
Did I say 30 or not?
I think you might have.
Fred is going to max out, Fred assumes. All right, so I didn't put it, but it's not a complete question until I get that. So let me erase, I'll say when he retires in 30 years and I can fix that. I'll look these error things too. Now I think I've got all of my information in. First, let's get the PMT or just P. I'll use Mike's thing, PMT. How much is he going to put in to this? So what does he got to figure out in order to make this work? He knows his yearly salary. What does he really need to? So his monthly salary. How much does Fred get a month? Fred is paid $5,000 per month. Does that make sense? 60,000 a year, so he's gonna take that. The reason why you have to do this monthly is because all these formulas are monthly. When that is 12, everything is monthly. Payment is $5,000, but it's not that. He is going to, how much is he going to put in? Yeah.
He's not gonna put 5,000, he's gotta live.
No, 500.
5, that's right. He's gonna, his payment, this, I should say his payment will be 5,000 times 0.10. So that's 500. That's from Fred. Now, how much is his employer gonna kick in?
Like 500.
His employer kicks in another 500. So what is his PMT then? Yeah, I made a mistake there. That's right. His PMT is $1,000. This is part of the PMT, but it's not the actual PMT. So the PMT is, that's both yours and the, maybe that's why you made the PMT, because it's a combination of things. Usually. All right, let me get that in there. The payment is 1,000. Then we have 1 plus, did I give an R?
Yeah.
6%, so 0.06 over 12 to the 12 times 30 minus 1. Finish that parenthesis. And then down here we have 0.06/12. How are we on entering these on the calculator? You guys are comfortable with it? It's not bad. The old day calculators where they just had the single display and everything. Oh my Lord, those would be hard. Clear this out. By now, you probably realize that 12 times 30 is 360 right off the top of your head. Now, the R over N, I probably would encase the 0.06 divided by 12 in its own parentheses. I would play that on the safe side. I'm not sure you have to, but I think I would. What I get is 1,000,000, how much should I get here? $1,400,515. You guys get that? You do not get that?
I get 1 million and then 4,550 down.
What I said, so yeah, 1,000,000, I got 1004515. So if I round the 2 places, we're gonna get 1,000,515. This matters a whole lot, but 0.04. Okay, so that's how much he has at retirement. That seems low though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the formula. It seems kind of low to me.
And 6% is kind of anemic.
Yep, barely needs, okay. Now, should we apply inflation to Fred? Or should we just go and take that money and put it into retirement and see how much he's gonna get a month?
You say real world, what you got there?
You're gonna have inflation, there's no question about that. You can, I mean, you could try to ignore it. At your own peril. When you have $1 million and only buys a Twinkie, you know. So we have, all right, then let's say he does apply that to it. This is gonna depress Fred a lot. All right, so now Fred assumes I don't want to use 3, well, I'll use whatever, I do 2.5% inflation. how much? Well, it is for 401k be worth in today's dollars. So we're gonna take his amount, the 1 million plus. What are they gonna multiply it by to find out how much this stuff is really gonna be worth? Yeah, 0.975. 2.5%. To the what power? 30, right? And let's see how much money he's got, he really has. It's too depressing, we're gonna do like, I think inflation is 6% this year. That would be too depressing to do that calculation. That is, if that stays that way, it's gonna be horrible for us. All right, so we have, oh, did you guys know if you press the up arrow, you can bring up the old stuff? So that's what I'm gonna do, is bring up the old arrow, the old stuff. And I'm gonna multiply it by 0.975 to the 30th power. Here I get about a little bit less than 500,000. I get 46999. Six. 1, 2. For a lot of us, becoming a millionaire is sort of the thing that you aim for. Now Fred realizes that he's not going to be a millionaire. So that's the amount of money he's going to use. And at this point, I mean, honestly, I probably would take like 19,000, whatever, put $450,000 into living. Take $19,000 and party on it or something like that. Take a vacation, something. But anyways, let's say he takes all of it. So he's depressed. He's not taking any vacation. He's going to spread that out. He figures now he's going to live for 10 years after he retires. It was going to be 20 till he saw it. So he goes, now Fred has 10 years to retire. So Fred wants payments for 10 years after retirement. In truth, for Fred, if he worked a public job, he'll also get Social Security, at least until that thing works out. But it will supplement his pay for, I don't know, the next, at least the next 10 years. So whatever he's getting, but if that's the thing about this job here, I pay no Social Security. None, zero. My retirement has no Social Security. It is completely based on the Ohio Retirement Fund, that's raised in the state teacher retirement fund. So Fred wants payments for 10 years after his retirement. He figures he can get, I don't know, maybe 5%. So do you understand the way this works? He comes in, what is it? He's going to come into a bank or some financial institution. Maybe his company even has somebody to help him. He's going to walk into a bank with $469,000. It's not, maybe he's not going to be carrying a steel briefcase, but you know, he'll have this check for all that money, and he'll go, I would like to purchase an annuity. And an annuity is what pays you for the rest of your, for however many years. The annuity, that is the loan you're making to the bank. He is going to loan the bank $469,000, and as a result, the bank is going to reward him with a 5% APR. The more money you have to give them, the higher that number will be. Of 100 million, probably over 9%. For Fred, sorry. He figures he can get 5% APR, so how much are his monthly retirement checks? And right here is what I'm talking about. The bank has been given the loan, and now the bank is making its monthly payments on the loan, no different than if you're. The only good thing about this is, when you're paying off a home, you can pay as much as you want extra and have it paid out faster. In no way, shape, or form does Fred want this to end earlier than 10 years. Otherwise, he would have just taken the 469 and had it been done with it. So this is where you use the loan formula. How much is the amount of the loan? The 469. We want to try to figure out the payments. So his payments look like this. It's identical. It is the formula for the house payment. We have a 469, 996.82. Not that that stuff is really important, but let's get the rest of this in here. He's going to do 5% in retirement. And he's only living for 10 years, so we've got 10 times 12 up there. Uh-oh, my calculator's changed the shape of its cursor. You got one of these calculators?
Mine did that. It wouldn't let
It
me.
runs out of steam before you, that's not, how cruel is that? It'll let you get to, I'll tell you how far we'll get to. It'll let me get It's so much delay. It'll let me get to 1, 2 up here instead of 120. And that's it. It won't let me put -1 in a parenthesis. I need 4 more marks and I'm good. Well, split up in the top and the bottom then. You're kind of stuck doing that.
Okay.
And you know what? It's not as bad as you think because you can always use the up arrow to get to the top. You know what I'm saying? You can back your way up to the top. So let me clear out, I'm gonna delete it. I'm just gonna do the numerator part of it. So let me enter that. Of course, here, you don't want to round intermediate calculations. So that's why I said you can let your calculator hold it for you. So what my calculator has written up here is so far I have 3,225.37177. Now that you have that guy, just do this. Once you have this number in there, the top part, just hit your division bar and then start the denominator. I was wondering why that cursor changed. I thought I had touched the extra button. And my total, this can't be true at $9.
You know, which formula are you using?
For his payments, for his life, that's what it should be.
It wouldn't just be,
Remember, he's getting paid now. They're paying back a house payment is essentially what they're doing. I've got to do this because. 46999.86.82. So what I'm gonna do is just the numerator. To the 120. Okay, I have that number. That's good. And now when I see that number, I'm just gonna go divide and start my double parentheses for the denominator.
That was supposed to be under where
Yeah.
the division.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I did type in something wrong. So anyways. I would get that number, and the way that I would do it is I would let the calculator have it. I wouldn't round that in any way, let the calculator keep its full digits. And then simply click the division button. So you'll see ANS slash, and it will take whatever this is to its full decimal thing. And so you'll take your 3,225.37. This is what the calculator will display. There's more digits being held in behind, and then you'll do this. And then don't forget that last parenthesis to finish it off. As soon as it lets me write again, I will. And then that should get you what I got. I have 495.05.
I got the same answer, but I went about it a different way.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's more than one way. That's not too bad. Considering who's getting $5,000 a month. Or most people try to match their retirement life with what they were living before they retired. So that they don't have such a drop off that they can't handle the transition. All right. E. I don't, well, hopefully you can, that thing is not supposed to be there. It looks like something attacked. We got retirement pay, we got the house payments. What else is there? PMT. Okay. Oh, that's the, okay. What about the average daily balance? Are you guys, do you want me to do a calculation for that? Let me know if you need any help with average daily balance, because that'll be on the test. Probably you'll have, you'll have somebody, a scenario will be for this month, they buy a couple of things. Can you keep track of all that?
Can I ask a quick question on the homework?
Sure, go ahead.
Are we like, is our grade based on completion or will?
It should be based on what you get on the homework. Why? Is the homework going poorly?
No, it's fine. It's just like if I have like it capitalized, like I think the first letter capitalized, it marks it wrong.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna do that. So what I would do, though, don't forget this. The homework is technically not due till the end of the semester. Did you know that? I don't put due dates on anything, did I? It's all like, yeah. So you get how, so you can go back and fix stuff like that later on. But in the meantime, if it's causing you so much problem that you don't know if you're understanding the material, just write me and we'll. It's, look, it's raw. It is not, it's not a clean system as of yet. What was the next thing on there? Oh, yeah. The average daily balance, is everybody okay with those calculations, or do you need me to do an example? Silence, if you don't say nothing, I'll assume that means no.
Just, you gotta do it in 30, it's based on the current.
Yeah, exactly right. That's right. So if in April, you'll have a 30-day thing, then May, and that means any time in April too. So if you know, when you start credit cards, the most popular time when they're started is when you're buying something at, say, like a grocery store, not grocery, but a clothing store or something like that. And they go, hey, you don't have to pay anything now if you just start opening up this credit card with this incredibly usurious interest rate attached to it. But that's how most people get credit cards, I think, or they get them in the mail. So if we're okay with that, I'll move on to chapter 2. I just want to make sure we're all right. If not. So let's go back then, chapter 2. Descriptive statistics. Do we have any problems? I assume since your calculators can do these, that they shouldn't be too bad. You don't even have to be able to do the mean by hand. So are there any questions about these calculations, the mean, median, mid-range, or mode?
You know, one thing that I noticed, when I got the TI-84, I had to reset contact because some things just wouldn't show up.
They do. In fact, that calculator, if somebody has ever had to take the SAT with your calculator, like if you got it used, if the person before you took the SAT with it, they downgraded the calculator to put it in test mode. That means you have certain things that are not available to you until you go to somebody with a TI calculator who has the ability to download a file onto your onto your calculator. Then it unlocks everything.
And I don't figure out, I went on the website and they had me press like the catalog button and I had to put in the code.
That might be another way to do it. That might, but yeah, resetting it, because what they want is, like, if you go to take the SAT, you bring the calculator in there with you, and they put it in exam mode, they can't have you pushing a button and exam moding it in the middle of the test. So you have to physically take it to somebody and you have to do something with it, or like you said, go online and maybe fix it that way. But it's not easy. That's what they want. But yeah, I remember there were some things that were crossed out in exam mode that it won't let you do, and it actually has lines through them in the display. So mean, median, what about standard deviation and range? Any questions about those? They're all pretty really simple. Group data, I shouldn't think is so bad because all you do is put numbers in the second list. Or whatever in the Y values. What about grouped data? Any questions about grouped data?
That's what the classes of data. You just use the median of the, class, so.
The median, yes, you use if it's hard to say, the word median doesn't apply when it's an interval that is of real numbers. They call it the midpoint, that's the one they use. But if it's whole numbers, actually, you know what, let me see. I'm not sure, yeah, it is, I believe it is the median. Okay, measures of variability, we have, group data. What about the displays of the data? Can you draw these pictures? I will ask you to draw a crude elementary picture. It'll have a small set of data, you know, can you draw like a histogram or a line chart or a pie chart? Are you capable of doing those things by hand? Whether you can do them on your Excel spreadsheet or whatever spreadsheet you're using, I don't care. But in real life, you would never hand in a hand-drawn graph to your boss. I think you had a question, what was it?
Maybe just been a question about, graph, and for some reason, I still had a problem with the graph actually displaying on my calculator. It's kept giving me like a straight line up and down. Instead of like one.
You have to set the window to the appropriate settings. So if you would have to know what was your lowest X value and what was your highest X value.
And then
What was your lowest Y value and what's your highest Y value?
splitting those two far apart. I probably gave them.
That's what you need. Yeah, you would need to put in those things. Why don't you find it for me and send me an email on that, or do you have it in front of you, the one that you were having issues with? Either way, you can send it to me later, or you can try to find it now. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, take them if you need to. Go ahead.
My calculator, like when I enter for 99, I get there's an error.
What is for what now?
Like if I'm entering like the X value and the frequency,
Uh-huh.
if the frequency is over 99, I get.
There is? All right, let's see what happens here. Are you doing one right now? I'll grab it. It's not a problem. I'm guessing from which section? Group data?
Section 2.3. Number 5.
Okay. None of these are more than 97, 99.
It was like in there.
Let's go to, here we are. If you enter I could swear I did this problem on this calculator. Let's see what happens. So unfortunately, I can't show you the same time because they need the video. If I can't use the camera for both of them. Why don't we try to enter this one that you see on the screen, number 12. So let's use this as a stat entering moment for the rest of you. Why don't you try to enter number 12 in your calculator? And we're going to go and try to get the mean, median, mode, and all that stuff. So do you remember you need to exit stat var? And then I always enter back into stat var. And then you're going to choose, did you choose no, you only need one. Did you choose one variable? Okay. Then you hit data. I got 3.5 for X1, 120 for frequency 1. There's a frequency domain error. Okay, yeah, so you're stuck then there. You would have to do these things using the formulas, which you don't want to do that. Get yourself maybe this is the week to find a better calculator. The Casios, you can get a graphing Casio for like $20. I mean, they're cheap. Or I never knew that I thought I did that problem on this calculator, but I guess I was wrong. There's not much you can do about it.
I just want to make sure I wasn't.
You know what you could do? Here's what you could do. Do it for 99, okay? And then for X2, do 3.5 again. But then put it for the remaining 21. All right, then you do the 5.4 and 78, 7.3, 45, 9.2, and now what am I gonna do next, do you think? Well, I'm gonna do it for 99, and whatever, it doesn't matter what it does. So I'll do it for 99, and then X6 will still be 9.2, but then that will be for 9, whatever adds up to 109. I mean, 108, sorry. 99 plus 9 is 108. So that's how you can do it. I just thought about it. And the rest of them I think are okay. Is anybody else doing this problem as I'm talking? Because I want to make sure that the numbers didn't get screwed up. They shouldn't. They should be exactly the same. Well, let me get our numbers. The stat bar is what you want to press after you get it all in there. Wow, that took a long time, didn't it? Did yours take like a minute? Don't you get worried that it's not going to work? All right, let's make sure that that adds up to 482. If you add up the frequency column, is that 482? 8, 2, 32, 43. Yep, 482. All right, so our X bar is 7.74. Anybody else get that X bar? Great, nobody else did it.
I can't read it. It's not right.
Oh, oh,
Horrible lines.
well, this is easy. You
So
get,
that's full side, yes.
I could have made this as big as you wanted. I wanted to check it because we were doing it and I wanted to make sure that we were all getting exactly the same answers. So, well, since you guys are gonna not do it, I'll go and do it on my other calculator. I just want to make sure I get the same exact answer. I don't see nothing in my mind is telling me there should be any reason why these should be wrong. So I delete these. But a graphing calculator just simply makes this problem into nothing. It's just entering data is what it is. Let's get our stats out of that. Make sure that you put the L2 in your frequency list. Okay, so I got 7.74. Oh, these are exactly the same. All right, let's do standard deviation. So do SX 3.315, 3.315. Sigma, don't worry about sigma. Yeah, it's got it all there. It's got everything you need. So you see the game plan now? Part of the reason why it took so long is that by breaking it into two parts like that, you're violating a fundamental process of this frequency distribution.
Right.
Nonetheless, it still works. All right, so you can save your $20. You're doing a graphing calculator?
Yeah, and I'm thinking I need something. You said we're gonna just go into the stat bar.
Just stat, you should just look in just stat. No, you're not doing stat bar, are you? If you do stat and you add it, you should just have two columns of data like this.
Yeah, so I have
And I say they gotta be exactly the same size. Let me see your data.
And then just use the stat. Now, choose the one variable stats.
Yeah, your frequency list. And then we have to right through.
okay, let's do the 7.74.
7.7415. for X bar. Did you get that?
Yeah, okay, all this two wasn't on there for some reason.
It's not by default.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we're all good on this then? So these should be hopefully very simple calculations, the standard deviation, whatever, the only thing you can make a mistake is put in sigma instead of S. That's the only thing I can possibly imagine. Not that you'll need it, but the sigma is used for what's called a population parameter, and S is used as an estimation parameter. Let me get back down to size here. Where's the stuff up here blocks everything? It's annoying. All right, we had that. Let me come back to the text. So we were out with the group data. What was left then?
Linear regression.
All right, do we need help with linear regression? Do we need to do an example? But the only problem I think that people might make is that on the homework problems, whatever year you start in needs to be X equals 0. Well, yeah, exactly. But that's why everything worked on yours, is because the slope wasn't different. So from year to year, it was progressing exactly how it should. It's just yours started way different than but that wouldn't affect year to year calculations, just initial stuff. So yeah, yes, so that's why if you typed in something in there, it would give you the B was wrong, but did you notice the slope was fine? Yeah, it's just basically, I'll give you, here's years 1 to 5. Here's what we have. Can you predict year 6? Stuff like that. Any questions about that?
So I know that you said that, so is it that we can look at the test beforehand or?
Send me an email. I'll forget. I'm the kind of person like, I need to take this pencil with me to school today. So I'll put it in front of the back door and I'll walk over it as I walk out.
My calculator's at home. Exactly what
Usually if I can, I set myself up to where I can't possibly walk out without it running into me. I should probably have Velcro patches all. Yeah, I know. I think it's more a matter of society today. You can't keep track of it. It's just way too much. If there are no other questions, then I can go ahead and we can answer there. So you guys get the idea. Send me an email reminding me of the first test or an old test. I'll be happy to send you all that I have. I would like you to see them. I thought it had old tests, so I didn't.
You'll send us a copy of the.
I'll send you all my old tests. Yes, they're in PDF format. I'll send you all that you want.
It's got an email.
That's right. I'll never remember.